playing. No, just kidding. Anyway, the lady that raised her, I can actually work with her without a glove. That's how gentle she is. She is not tame. You cannot tame a wild animal. Anyway, she carried her around the house on her arm. She fed her just like a cat all day long. She would let her perch on her shoulder and perch on top of her head. And that's exactly what Cheyenne's trying to do, is get on top of Sarah's head or her shoulders. And that's pretty cool if you got a parrot, but not for bird of prey. Anyway, Cheyenne, we're pretty sure is a female because she has such a dark face and a dark chest. Male barn owls, they still have the spots, but their face is a lot wider than hers is. Now, can owls turn their heads all the way around? Who says yes? Can they turn it? You're all wrong. Owls cannot turn their heads all the way around. Only owls on TV and in the cartoons can do that. However, they can turn their heads about 270 degrees. So in other words, if you were looking straight ahead, you turn your head in one direction, go around your shoulders, around your back, and look over your other shoulder. That's how far an owl can turn its head. Does anybody know how many bones we have in our neck? How many neck bones do we have? Anybody know that? We've got 7 bones in our neck. An owl has 14 bones in their neck. That's what gives them the ability to turn their head so far around. Now, another unique hunting tool the owls have is their, along with their eyesight, is their hearing. They're very specialized hearing. The owl's ears aren't spaced evenly on their head. One is a little higher than the other, and one is a little in front of the other. So with being able to turn their head so far around and their ears being offset, they can almost hear 360 degrees. Also in the front of their face, turn around, Cheyenne. Everybody grab a quick look at her face. Okay, the owls on the front of their face. The front of the face is called the facial disc. Those are very special feathers on an owl's face. The way they actually hear is the sound is carried through that facial disc and into their ears. Like I said, owls have a very, very sharp sense of hearing and eyesight. Now, I know it's very difficult, going to be difficult to hear this little machine, especially since we don't have the speaker system. But here's what a barn owl sounds like. I'll play a couple different things. If you're in the woods, if you did not hear a barn owl call out, you would probably never know it was there. This is what it sounds like. Now, the reason you wouldn't hear it flying through the air is barn owls have very special feathers on the leading edges of their wings. They're actually real quiet. The only reason people in front here might be able to hear some noise is because of the resistance of the pulling against the glove. Anyway, barn owls have very special feathers on the leading edges of their wings. The feathers actually interlock. It's kind of like us having split ends in our hair. So that's what makes them almost totally silent flyers. The cool thing about owls, okay, all birds, when they eat, anything they can't digest, they will puke it back up into a pellet. This is one of my hawks, a pellet. There's a puke I'm holding in my hand. Bird puke. Somebody wants bird puke? Okay, all the birds, anything they cannot digest, the bones, fur, whatever it was in their prey, they can't digest, they will puke it back up in a pellet about 12 hours, 14 hours after they've eaten. Now, what's really cool about the barn owls, or the owls in general, owls tend to swallow their prey whole. So after they've puked up their pellet, you can actually get that pellet and dissect it. A lot of school science classes do this. You can actually dissect that pellet and take it apart and see what it had to eat the night before. It sounds kind of gross, but it's actually kind of fun. Of course, I'm a guy. That's my big guy. Any questions about a barn owl before we put her up? Are native? Yes, ma'am. Matter of fact, the barn owl is the most common owl in the world. It's found everywhere except the Antarctic. A family of 5 barn owls can kill around 10,000 mice in 1 year. So you can see the loss we have this owl being in captivity. It's one owl. And they can't be taught to hunt? Being an imprint, I could actually teach her to hunt, but she's too used to people. If she were to get loose, she would fly back to somebody. If I had nothing to do with birds and I had a bird coming at me, I'm going to get it. It's coming right over there. Because I don't know what it's going to do.
Will they get chickens?
Will I get chickens? Yes and no. We'll cover that here in just a few minutes. Okay, where's Mackenzie? Okay, Mackenzie is our other helper. Mackenzie is Sid and Alice Miller's granddaughter. He's not in pain. He's scared. I'm going to go ahead and hold this little guy. Mackenzie, like I said, we hold him later. This is this bird's first program, so he's in stage fright. Okay, who thinks this is a baby? Raise your hand if it's a baby. Well, yes and no. Yes, it's a baby, but it is full grown. This bird was born the first part of May, or hatch. The electric company was clearing the tree line down in Arkansas and accidentally cut down the tree that this bird nest was in. We actually got 3 of them. One of them passed away the first night. These birds didn't even have their eyes open when we got them. They're head raised. They're true imprints. Does anybody know what kind of bird this is? Gray screech owl, that's right. Screech owls come in 2 colors. They're called the gray face, the color gray, and then there's the red face, or the red screech owl. Matter of fact, his sibling, I didn't know this could happen until this year, his sibling is red. He turned out red, the sibling is red, and he turned out gray. Like I said, it is a baby, but this is a full-grown owl. It will never get any bigger. Like I said, these are real common here in Missouri and Arkansas. Notice, if you will, the eyes, the color of the eyes. It's really important for this kind of owl. Now remember, the barn owl had dark eyes. I said, I know it's difficult for everybody to see. This bird, see, it has the color in his eyes, has a little bit of green. What do you call animals that come out at nighttime? What's the word for nighttime? Nocturnal. What's the word for daytime? Diurnal. Okay. Even though this is an owl, this is what you call crepuscular. You have nighttime, it's nocturnal, daytime, diurnal. And this guy is called crepuscular. Great horned owls and screech owl both are crepuscular. What that means is the best time for them to hunt is dusk and dawn. They will hunt all night, and they can see just fine at night, but the best time for the hunt is dusk and dawn. Matter of fact, I'll let you hear what a screech owl sounds like. Okay, here's a screech owl. This is the easiest bird, if you have one of these, to call into your backyard. Even living here in town, you have these here in town. But if you get one of these devices, you can get them at bird stores, you can get them off the internet. If you have one of these, if you use it during nesting season around a nesting site, you can go prison or be fined. It's federal offense. Do not disturb the bird's nesting period. However, like I said, this is one of the easiest birds to call in. If you have one of these, go out at dusk, right at sunset. This bird, you can hear the volume on this. This is all the way up. This bird can hear that over a mile away. Last year, a couple years ago, my wife and I, we went camping, and of course, at nighttime, nothing to do. She went to bed, I got bored. So I got my machine out, and I started calling in screech owls. A couple of them came in, and finally, within about 30 minutes, had 7 screech owls running over our camping area. So I go to bed. A couple hours later, I got an elbow on my rib. ribs, why I say your birds are still out there. Any questions about a screech owl? One other thing I'd like to point out, if you use one of those devices, and I do know of this happening, a science teacher down in Arkansas took his science class out in the woods one evening and called in a screech owl. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. Let's see if we can call in a great horned owl. So they called in a great horned owl. Guess what? The great horned owl ate the screech owl. The great horned owl has no natural predators in the wild. It owns the nighttime sky. Other than another great horned owl, the great horned owl has no natural predators. Okay, let me get the last one out before I get the last one out. Okay, who knows what kind of bird this is? No, it's not a falcon.
Oh, sorry.
Red-tailed hawk. How come we call it red-tailed hawk? It's got the red tails. Okay, red-tailed hawks don't actually get red in their tail until around 4 years old. That's when they actually become sexually mature. A lot of people, when they see my birds, they go, "Oh, that is so cool that you have these birds at your house." Okay, this summer in rehab and our 7 education birds, we had 29 birds total at one time. It is so cool to have that many birds, because when it's 110 outside, they still want to eat. When it's 32 degrees outside, they still want to eat. If you're sick, they still want to eat. So, yes, we do get tired of birds sometimes. Anyway, this is a red-tailed hawk. This is Sky. Sky cannot extend his right wing. Sky was actually hit by a car, had 7 surgeries performed on that wing to try to correct it, and it didn't work. Sky actually belonged to another rehabber who got out of doing education programs and donated to me. My guesstimate on Sky's age is around 13, 14 years old. I think Sky is going to retire before too long and just live the rest of his life in captivity, do away with the programs because he's starting to stress out with it. Now, something really cool with birds of prey, and this is true with all the birds of prey, they reach such high speeds when they go into the dive that their nostril automatically closes, and they have a third eyelid called the nictitating membrane. Actually comes up and covers their eyes. They can actually see through that. What that does is act like safety glasses. So when they're flying after their prey, if they go through any kind of dirt or dust, it will protect their eyes from damage. Now, every bird has its own specific hunting tool. Okay, the hawk family sees in color. Not all birds see in color. Y'all have buzzards flying around here? Anybody seen buzzards? Raise your hand if you've seen buzzards flying around. Guess what? None of you have ever seen a buzzard in Missouri, and you never will. Buzzards are actually native to Europe, and a buzzard looks just like this. Okay, what we call buzzards, and I still do too. As a matter of fact, we have a vulture at home named Buzz. Anyway, what you're seeing are vultures, black vultures and turkey vultures. Okay, we don't actually have buzzards here. Like I said, they look just like the red-tailed hawk. In the springtime, who's seen the big birds follow bird nests? Everybody's seen it, right? Okay, you probably heard too that if you touch the baby bird, the mom will take it to death because she can smell human sin on there. It's not true. Birds do not have a sense of smell, except for vultures. So anyway, like I said, the hawk family sees in color, and not all birds do, and their eyesight is about 8 times stronger than mine and yours. Any questions about a red tail before I get the very last one out? I don't know where she originally came from. I know she's from Arkansas, and that's it. By the way, if you're watching TV, that wing injury causes him balance problems. Who has ever heard a red-tailed hawk before? Guess what? Everybody in here.